Think I beat it. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. I hope you all had an amazing, extended, long weekend. As you know, Monday, which was yesterday, was Memorial Day. So hopefully, you all paid your respects to the soldiers of the military that have passed in protecting this country. So we thank them for their services, and may they continue to rest in peace. All right, but we got to get back to business because we have about 2 more weeks until you know I guess the semester is over or whatnot. If you want to take a break, you can, and you all can return back in July. But that's up to you. I'll talk about that a little later on my virtual announcements video. All right. So, with all that being said, we are going to go ahead and get started. Now, this week, I wanted to take a different turn and I wanted to take a different approach. And this week, we will be applying math concepts to our science and social studies parts of the GED. Now, this is why it's very important that you all have phone almost fell. It's very important that you all have a good hold and a good grip on the basic math concepts. When I say basic math, I'm not only referring to addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You have to have a strong handle on those. Otherwise, any other math that you are trying to study for or may want to take, it may be a little challenging. So, again, if math was never really your strong suit, you may want to stay tuned and watch these videos all week because I will be doing basic math skills that you can apply to your science and your social studies tests. Okay. So let's go ahead and get it started. Okay. So the first thing that I want to look at is integers. Okay. Integers are simply positive and negative numbers. And again, this is a previous lesson that I have already covered. But in the event that you may miss it or you may need a refresher, please be sure that you watch this as a playback video. Okay. So just a couple of things I do want to point out. Integers, again, are just positive and negative numbers. Now, this thing is called a number line in the event, again, that forgot or just need a refresher. So this is a number line, and basically any number that is to the right of zero, because zero is what keeps the number line balanced. It's a neutral number. It's neither positive nor negative. Any number to the right of zero is positive. Any number to the left of zero is negative. And because we are going from left to right, this would make it a horizontal number line. Now, this number line over here is a vertical number line. The reason why it is vertical is because it is going up, down, up, down. All right. So any number above zero is positive. Any number that's below zero is negative. Now, I do want to say this. It's very important that you also make sure that you catch the connections between the horizontal number line and the vertical number line. Simply because when you put those two together, and I'm going to pull up my toolbar. When you put these two together, what you end up with is a coordinate plane or coordinate graph, either way, okay? Where this is now your x-axis and the horizontal line is your x-axis and the vertical number line is your y-axis. So that's why it's very important that you catch those connections between integers, a horizontal number line, and a vertical number line. Okay. Again, as I always tell my students, especially my math students, math is very repetitious, meaning it repeats. Concepts repeat themselves. The only difference is they're going to come up as a different format. So it's very important that you understand the basis or the foundational points of math, the fundamentals of math, as some people call it. Okay, so again, when you put your horizontal number line together along with your vertical number line, you will get a coordinate graph. Okay, and that is where we talk about plotting points and slope and finding the equation of a line and y-intercept, all of those fun, fascinating things. Okay, but again, in order to understand how all of that works, you need to make sure that you are very strong with your integers. Okay, now the good news is with integers, we already know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide positive numbers. Why? Because that's basic arithmetic. We know that 3 plus 7 is 10. We know 7 minus 3 is 4. We know 7 times 3 is 21, and 21 divided by 7 is 3. Those are all basic math skills that we learned in elementary school. Okay, so again, I'm not here to make anyone feel bad. I just want to encourage you. If you're missing any foundational mathematics skills, there's a plethora of resources that you can use. My personal favorite being YouTube, simply because it's visual and you can get that understanding from the videos, and they may also have other resources that they can lead you to as well. So please, if you are not as confident in your fundamental basic math skills as you feel you should be, please check out YouTube, or you can Google up, multiplication charts or division charts, or, other resources that are out there. Okay, that's very, very important. So that's the good news. The good news is we know how to add positive numbers together, because that's basic arithmetic. The issue started to come when we're adding negative numbers into the mix. Okay, I'm going to move this back down here. Hopefully it'll stay. All right. All right. So here is what I have: adding integers and subtracting integers. And just a quick reminder, addition and subtraction are what's known as inverse operations, meaning that they are opposites of each other. Multiplication and division are inverse operations. They are opposites of each other. Okay. Just in case, again, you needed a refresher. All right. So with adding integers, I have here 7 plus 3 equals 10. Now I am adding 3, which is a positive number, and 7, which is a positive number. So when I add two positive numbers together, I get a positive result. No big deal. That's easy. Again, that is when we decided to add negative numbers or throw negative numbers into the mix. That's when it became like a little, oh my God, issue. Okay. So now I have negative 7 plus a negative 3. And you notice that I put my negative 3 in parentheses. That is simply to let me know that I am adding a negative number. So you never want this situation right here, because what happens is I don't know whether to add or to subtract. Which one do I do? Well, that's why it's very important that when you're working with negative numbers, especially with addition and subtraction, you want to make sure that your second number is in parentheses. Okay, because that is going to determine how you solve this particular problem. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there as well. And remember, to any of my students that are watching, that are in class right now, and I believe Brittany is the only one, if you have any questions at any given time, please unmute yourselves and you can ask away. I will be sure to answer your question, and then make sure you put yourself back on mute. Okay, it's very important. All right. Now, we have negative 7 plus negative 3 equals a negative 10. Okay, so I have two negatives added together that gives me a negative. Now, it is here, the next one, where it may get a little tricky. So in this case, I am going to use a number line. Now remember, number lines are visual, that if you know, because if you're a visual person that needs to see how we came up with the answer, a number line would be very, very helpful. However, while you're taking your GED exam, I would strongly advise you not to use a number line, simply because your test is timed and you want to make sure that you give as much time needed to the questions that may be challenging for you. Okay, so again, the fundamentals of math are things that you should be able to pop off your head, meaning that you're going to take the time to study, you're going to take the time to memorize, you're going to take the time to make sure that you understand the rules of each fundamental math concept. Okay, very, very important. All right, so I am going to demonstrate a number line for these next two problems. Okay. So I am going to start with, remember, my negative numbers start from the left. Positive numbers are to the right. Okay. So I'm going to have a negative 7, a negative 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I'm going to add all the other numbers, so don't worry. Okay, then I have 1, 3, 4. I just heard another ding, so that means I have another student that is joining me this morning. So as always, I want to acknowledge the student for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Hampton.
Good morning, Mr. Neal. How are you?
I'm doing okay, and how are you?
I am well, thank you. All this week, we are going to be going over math concepts that you will find in your science and or social studies GED exams, okay? So we are
Okay.
starting with the fundamentals, which are integers, fractions, and percents. So we'll be working on that all this week.
Okay.
All righty, let's see here. 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so again, remember, any number that is to the left of 0 is a negative number. Any number that's to the right of 0 is a positive number. All right, so I am going to start here at negative 7. So I'm going to place a little dot right there. Now, because 7 is negative, 7 is going to be to the left of 0. All right, so that means I have to go to the right 3, because 3 is a positive number. Okay, so that means I am going to go 3 spaces to the right to find my answer of negative 7 plus 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay. So because I went 3 spaces to the right, because 3 is a positive number, my answer is going to be negative 4. And as you can see, we have negative 4. Okay. So I'm going to give, if you're watching this as a playback video, you can pause at any given moment to take any notes that you would like. Or if you are actually sitting here during the real live class, I'll give you an opportunity to write this down, to ask any questions that you may have. But just a reminder, if you are in the live class, make sure that you are taking notes and make sure that your audio is on mute. So that way we can cancel out any background noises. Because if anyone is watching the playback video, we want to make sure that they can hear a good quality sound. That's very important. All right. Okay. All right. So again, we have -7 plus 3 is equal to -4. Okay. And now I'm going to switch colors here. Well, no, I'm not. I am not. Sorry, I'm not going to switch colors. I don't have to. All right. So for this particular problem, I have 7 plus -3. Now, again, I know when we look at that, it looks real silly. I get it and I understand. However, this is actually going to be a caveat or a move along to subtracting integers. Okay, so stay with me. So, where's my cursor? Okay, so I'm going to start here at +7. Okay, so I'm starting with 7 because it's positive right here. Now, it says plus -3. This is actually the same thing as saying 7 minus 3, which we know to be 4. Okay, so but to show this on the number line, I am going to go back 3 spaces. I'm going to move 3 spaces to the left because 3 is negative. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3. And as we can see here, 7 plus -3, or we can say 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. Now, I am the type of teacher that, of course, likes to make it make sense. So I'm going to make this make sense in the easiest way possible. When you think of integers, think of your bank account, think of money. Think of deposits, which is adding, and withdrawals, which are negative. Okay, so let's use this in layman's terms. And I'm going to go back to the adding integers. If I had $7 in my account and I added 3 more, I now have $10 in my account. No biggie. We're rich. Okay, that's what that is. However, if I was -$7 in my account and I knew that I was -$7 in my account, but I spent 3 more dollars of what I didn't have, I have now added to my debt and I now have $10 that I am in the negative in my account. Okay. We're not talking about the NSF fee either. We ain't talking about that. We are just simply saying that I spent $7. So I am -$7 in my account and I'm spending 3 more dollars that I don't have. Okay, so I want to make sure that we catch that connection. Now, you're still -$7 in your account. You're still negative, but you are blessed to put $3 in. So you are depositing $3 in your account. You are still -$4 in the hole, which is better than -7, and I'll explain why momentarily. As always, you want to be at a zero balance or in a positive, or in the green. You never want to be in the red. You always want to be in the green. Okay. Now, this one, if I had $7 in my account and I spent $3, I still have $4 left to spend. No biggie. So remember, everybody knows about money. We all like money. So anytime you find yourself getting confused or getting, I guess, lost as it relates to the integers, as it relates to adding them, okay? And I need to say this, as it relates to adding them, think of money. I always think of money. Money's cool. All right. So, do I have any questions from my students that are joining me today so far? Do I have any questions? Okay. No news is good news. They didn't say anything. All right. So, now we're going to move on, and I'm going to change colors because I do everything color coordinated. Now we're going to switch colors and go to red, subtracting integers. Now, out of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers, subtracting integers is the one that people kind of get confused on. They kind of get hung up on it. But remember, if you can add, you can subtract because they're inverse operations, and I'm going to prove that right now. There is a rule that you must remember. Keep, change, change, or keep, change, opposite. Some people learned it KCC. Some people learned it KCO. Either way, keep, change, change, keep, change, opposite. Do not confuse this with keep, change, flip. That is dividing fractions, okay? Don't worry. I understand a lot of the rules, they sound the same and they use the same lettering, but they are totally different. So make sure that you know the difference between keep, change, change, or keep, change, opposite, which is subtracting integers, and keep, change, flip, which is dividing fractions. Okay. Now, this problem led me here. So I started with subtracting two positive numbers. Again, if I had $7 in my account and I spent 3, I'm left with 4. No biggie, I'm left with 4. Now, it's this next one. -7 minus 3. And I want you to hear me clear when I say this. -7 minus 3. This is where we are going to apply the keep, change, change, or the keep, change, opposite rule. So what you would have to do, you are going to keep the first number the same. So I'm going to keep my -7 the same. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to keep it the same. You're going to change your subtraction to addition. Why? Because they are inverse operations of each other. The third step is you're going to change the second number to the opposite. So the opposite of 3 is -3. Well, what do you know? I know how to add two negative numbers together because I did it over here. So I have -7 plus -3, and that gives me a -10. Okay. So you're going to see as we continue to go along that when you are actually subtracting integers, you're really adding them. So remember, if you know how to add, then you know how to subtract. That's why I said that earlier. All right, so we're going to go to the next problem. I have a -7, and that is minus -3. So I'm going to say that again. -7 minus -3. Again, I'm going to keep my first number the same. So I'm going to keep -7. I am going to change my subtraction to addition. And I'm going to change the second number to the opposite. The opposite of -3 is 3. So in essence, I have -7 plus 3 is equal to -4. Oh, isn't that what I have over? Oh, that's what I have over there. So again, making sure that you catch those small connections and making sure that when you see it, oh, that's the same thing as me adding. Because remember, adding and subtracting are inverse operations. I cannot express that enough. All right. And so last but certainly not the least, I have 7 minus -3. So I'm going to say that again. 7 minus -3. And there's a reason why I'm repeating those numbers and the way that I'm repeating them, and I'll explain that at the end of this. I'll explain them in a moment. So again, I'm going to keep the first number the same. So 7 stays the same. I'm going to change my subtraction to addition. And I'm going to change my second number to the opposite. So the opposite of -3 is 3. Oh, well, what do you know? 7 plus 3 is 10. Oh, that's what I have up here. Oh, look at that. Now, the reason why I kept repeating the same problem twice is because it's going to be very important that you hear yourself when you say these types of problems as it relates to subtracting integers. Because when you say it out loud, it's going to help you with your rules of keep, change, or keep, change, opposite. Okay, so that's the reason why I repeated it, so that way when you hear it and then you see my explanation, you can put those connections together and you can say, okay, I keep 7, change the subtraction to addition. The opposite of -3, I'm changing it to 3. Okay. And let me also say this before I go any further. And I've noticed this, like I said, I've been doing this a very long time, and I've noticed a couple of things. When we read a regular schmegula problem, and I'm going to use 7 minus 3 as an example. When we read these problems, we read them as we normally would, 7 minus 3. Okay. It is when, again, they started putting in the negative numbers where people would get confused as to how to read the problem. So, for example, and again, this is not to math shame anyone. This is a teachable moment, because what I don't want you to make the same mistakes. I want you to correct yourself, and I want you to apply it where necessary. So that way you can have a chance to grow and apply this concept in other places. Some people read this as -7 minus -3. And that's incorrect. Now, the reason why it is incorrect is because the subtraction sign serves as two things. The subtraction sign serves as an operational sign, which is the minus sign or the takeaway sign, however you learned it. And it serves as determining what number is negative. Okay, so again, and I'm actually going to show you this when we get to multiplying and dividing integers so it can make sense. But for right now, when I read this problem, I read it as -7 minus -3. I have two negative numbers that I am subtracting. Okay, and I just heard another ding, so I want to acknowledge the student that has just joined us. Good morning. It was me, Miss Hampton. Oh, okay. All right. Excuse me, my throat. All right. So just remember, when you are reading these subtraction problems, please don't read them as -7 minus 3. The number does take the sign. So if there is a subtraction sign in front of the number, that lets you know that it is a negative number. Okay, so it's a negative number, but we wouldn't say it again as -7 minus 3. We wouldn't say that. We would say -7 because this is letting us know that the 7 is negative, because there is a sign in front of it to let us know that it's negative. -3. Now, if someone were to ask you what numbers are negative, then you would say, after you do your keep, change, or keep, change, opposite, you would then say -7 and -3, because these two numbers are now negative because of the keep, change, or the keep, change, opposite rule. Okay. So again, if you're watching this as a playback video, you can take the opportunity to pause. Okay. And let it all sink in, let it all marinate. All right. All right. So again, excuse me, if you have any questions about any of this, if you're watching the playback video, please leave it in the comment section. Boop, 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 and I'll be sure to answer them. I will also make sure that I leave a PDF worksheet for you all for practice. Okay. I'll be sure to do that because that's what I do. All right. So I am going to go ahead and continue with the integers with multiplying and dividing. Okay. All right, there we go. Multiplying and dividing integers. Again, out of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, this is the easiest. But let me say it, let me add this to it. If you are not strong in your multiplication or division as you should be, again, it is your responsibility to get all the resources that are at your fingertips via the internet. Okay. Again, YouTube has amazing visuals about multiplying and dividing numbers all together. I'll be sure to leave all of these of what I know off the top of my head. I'll be sure to leave those in the pinned comment section, so that way you'll have easy access to the resources. Okay. And again, I strongly encourage you, please take advantage of the resources that are given to you. Okay. It is so important. Okay. Because I want you all to be the very best. And the only way that you can be your best is if you put forth an effort in trying. Okay. Nothing beats a failure than a try. All right. So multiplying and dividing integers. The good news is that both operations use the same rule. So that's the good news. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to deviate from anything. And I am going to, now that I don't have that green, so now I have to, well, I do have the, well, okay, here we go. Gotta get my purple. I don't know which purple that is, y'all, so I might be wrong. All right. All right. When you have the same sign, meaning if both numbers are positive or negative, your answer will be positive. For example, here, I have a positive 7 multiplied by a positive 3. That gives me a positive 21. No biggie. 2 positives multiplied together give me a positive, no problem. I have a negative 7 multiplied by a negative 3. That still gives me a positive 21. 2 negatives multiplied together give me a positive. So these are my same signs. I have 2 positive numbers I'm multiplying together to give me 21. I have 2 negative numbers that I'm multiplying together, and it still gives me a positive 21. Okay. Same thing with division. A positive 21 divided by a positive 7 gives me a positive 3. No biggie. A negative 21 divided by a negative 7 also gives me a positive 3. So same sign. I have 2 positive numbers, positive answer. Same sign. 2 negative numbers still give me a positive. Okay. And I am not sure if y'all can hear that in the background. If you do, my sincerest apologies, but they are doing some groundwork, or why they're doing it, I have no idea. But anyway. All right. So if you have different signs, you will have a negative answer. So for example, I have a positive 7 multiplied by a negative 3. Positive times a negative gives me a negative. So this is a negative 21. I have a negative 7, and that's the reason why I also put my numbers in parentheses. Anytime you're working with negative numbers, put them in parentheses if you can, because that way it's going to help you with deciphering what operation to use. Okay. So I have a negative 7 times a positive 3. That gives me a negative 21. Okay. Very important. Again, making sure that you know the difference between your positives and your negatives. Same over here. I have negative 21 divided by a positive 7. That gives me a negative 3. I also have a positive 21, and I am dividing that by negative 7. So at the top, I have a negative divided by a positive, and here I have a positive divided by a negative. Both of my answers are negative 3. Okay. So just keep in mind, again, if multiplication, even before the integers, if multiplication and division were one of those things where you felt it was not going to be important, then check yourself, because they are. Multiplication and division are the groundwork. They are both the groundworks for higher level math, because that's all you're going to be doing once you reach the algebra level, geometry level. Again, if you all want to pursue your undergraduate degrees and your undergraduate studies, and you're going to take more math, higher level math that's beyond algebra and geometry, you're going to have to make sure that your multiplication and division is on point, because if not, it will be a struggle for you. And I don't want that struggle for you. I promise you I don't. So again, there's a plethora of resources that you can use. YouTube has amazing multiplication and division videos. They also, have other resources that you can connect to as well. If you Google, multiplication sheets or multiplication videos or division videos, they have a plethora of resources at your fingertips. So please make sure that you use them. Okay, so important. I don't know what this is. Okay, well, we're not going to go to the percents just yet. What I want to do now is, because I'm going to be doing this all week, and because I have like a whole bunch of other, um, I'm sorry, a whole bunch of other topics that go along with the basic math fundamentals. What I want to do, I am going to make a playlist, and this is going to be the first video under this playlist, and it's going to be called Fundamentals of Math. Okay, so in order to be successful in geometry and in algebra, you must have these fundamentals down pat. Okay, so just letting you know, this week we're going to be covering, well, we just finished up the integers. I'll be sure to give you all a worksheet so you can work on that. We're also going to be looking at percents. We're also going to be reviewing fractions, decimals. We are also going to be looking at scientific notation and measurement, because in this math called geometry, you're going to be dealing with a lot of measurement, okay, with area and volume and weights and capacities and all of that good stuff. So again, this is going to be a new playlist that I'm creating, and it's going to be Fundamentals of Math. Okay, now I know what some of you all are thinking if you're watching this playback. What in the world does this have to do with science and or social studies, Ms. Hampton? Well, it has a lot to do with science and or social studies, simply because math is in all four parts of your GED. Okay. In science, you may have to talk about distance. You may have to, again, talk about bank accounts, withdrawals and deposits. You may have to talk about the weather, how the weather is, I don't know, 80 degrees below zero. See, when we talk about those things, those are integers. When we're talking about something that is above sea level and below sea level, that's integers. Okay, so it's very important that, again, you catch those connections and you can apply those concepts to your science and social studies. Okay, now as far as social studies, is concerned, social studies deals more with graphing. It deals more with reading charts and reading different types of graphs, and we can go over those too. So I think I will more than likely spend the remainder of my time going over those basic math skills and concepts, because believe me, you're going to need it. Trust me. Okay. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I am going to go ahead and upload this video on my YouTube channel. Please make sure that you all are watching and paying attention to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you are subscribed, hit the like button, and leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know exactly how I'm doing, because good, bad, or indifferent, that's going to help me be a better educator. And I want to make sure that I am a better educator for not only my students that I teach, but for anyone that is coming across these GED adult ed videos. Okay. Very, very important to me. I'm not above reproach. I'm really not. All right. So I think today we did pretty good. I am going to send a worksheet so that way you can practice. And also, I'm going to be linking some other resources in the pinned comment section. So please, again, take advantage and make sure that you all are doing your part and doing your due diligence and making sure that you are studying, making sure that you are taking initiative and finding other resources. If you have other resources that you want to share with me that you feel that would benefit not only my class, but anyone else, please feel free to share those. Sharing is caring. All right. So, do I have any questions from my students? Do I have any questions at all? I can't find my. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share, and I'm going to go ahead and get this video uploaded for you all. Remember, if there are any questions that you have, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, or you can text me, email me, reach out to me, do something. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's anything that I need to improve in. Let me know if, hey, no news is good news to me. Okay. So again, I will be sure to leave all of that information for you all in the pinned comment section with the resources. So that way you all can have at it. You can't say, well, Miss Hampton never gave me any, you know how y'all be, Miss Hampton never gave me any practice. Yes, I did. Just didn't take it. Okay, so anyway, Miss Hampton loves each and every one of you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I hope to have this video up for you all within the next 15 minutes. If I don't, just reach out to me. But the process does take a long time, so just be patient. All right. So with all that being said, again, Miss Hampton loves each and every one of you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And until tomorrow, I'll see y'all later. Bye.